Put my mask on for the live. I gotta make it to the live before we go live.
We're on a road to nowhere. Come on inside. Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning. And you know, we're on the road to paradise. Here we go, here we go. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright. Would you like to come along, and you can help me sing this song, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day. It's alright. Baby, it's alright. They could tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright.
Hello, everybody. I see some Abbies I recognize. Miguel, Vegan, Lucky. Yay. Awesome. That excites me when I tune in and see people already in the comments. So I know you guys are hyped because tonight I have none other than Saya Applejack. This was a hot request. Vegan, I know you wanted me to have Applejack, and I know Lucky you have had him. I guess he's a furry now. But yeah, we want to talk. We're gonna be having a good discussion about his time in prison, as well as his what he's doing now to help people with mutual aid. So what we can start with is not particular names or anything, but the reason we're late is because we were having a discussion about racial disparities in our country and about racism and just so much fucked up shit that revolves around superiority complex and things like that. So as a person of color, I know you're very passionate about these issues. Can you just kind of touch on, and this is a broad question, but can you just kind of touch on what is most important to you when it comes to equity, as far as racial equity?
Well, for those that don't know, my background is I come from the slums of New York. I'm telling you, the ghetto of the ghetto, housing projects and CEB, also known as the Essex Street Projects, ESP, every sucker's problem, from Spanish Harlem. And my entire neighborhood is all full of blacks and whites, all and Hispanics, all struggling to get by. Nobody in that area is making money. And for me, the biggest um the biggest issue that I see is uh is opportunity. I feel like only a chosen few get the opportunity, and that's if you know who you know instead of the skill that you bring to the board, especially when uh I've met so many people in my background in other neighborhoods that I visited that so talented and know how to do so many things and can contribute so much to society, but because they are who they are, or they were born where they were born, or that they don't have um, money backing them, that they make it nowhere. And I'm not saying that people from the hood can't make it out, but if you don't have the backing of someone who's already made it out, it's almost damn near impossible to make it out, you know? And people buy into this capitalist view, and I don't want to sit here spewing capitalist, socialist, communist bullshit, but there's this capitalist view where it's uh, your success is measured in the money that you make, and that I feel like is always going to keep people of my race, black people, Hispanic people, people like that. We're always going to be held down because there's only a few of us that make the money, where the rest of us live in poverty, and we don't have that opportunity. And when we're finally given that opportunity, even though sometimes we have to work double or triple as hard as, you know, some of our compatriots or whatever, um, it doesn't, regardless to how hard we work, there's still going to be people that look at us and be like, oh, well, you're not what I, so you can't get what I got. I'm not going to elevate you to my level, you know? So I feel like the biggest thing uh, behind for my people is is opportunity. But I think the biggest thing for me is the level of violence and death. I think being anti-war is the most important thing in my life today. I think that we as a country, we cause too much suffering, and um, I think that we should stop looking at the rest of the world in terms of foreign aid, um, which is really, you know, our means of keeping up this global hegemony, and looking at more inside and how we can better our own country. You know, we give like no money to schools, but these schools are supposed to be building up the future of this country. We're like literally handicapping ourselves, you know?
Well, that's it. You know, it's so frustrating when you see people praising the bajillions we're giving to Ukraine. And it's like, go up to an unhoused person, ask them how they feel about us giving them all that money when we could be helping them. I mean, and there is so much racism and imperialism because we know Ukraine, blonde hair, blue eyes, that's the biggest thing. Like, fuck Syria, fuck, Palestinians. It doesn't matter. Black and brown people, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ukraine. And
They
everybody's
try to,
supposed to just get behind it. So what is
yeah,
it like as a person of color when you see, Obama started 7 wars under him, dropped more bombs than any president in history, but nobody wants to talk about that. But now, Ukraine, it's blonde hair, blue eyes, and they are literally saviors to people.
I don't want to use the slavery term Uncle Tom, but to us, Obama's skin color is not what he is. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you could, there's a huge issue with our electoral process, and anybody, it doesn't matter whether if they've been in politics for years or they're brand new just coming in, everybody gets beaten down by the machine, you know? And at the end of the day, it's a different type, it's a different type of dictatorship, because, you know, the head changes, but the arms don't. You still have Victoria Newland and Hillary Clinton and the same people running the country. You know, we just change our figurehead, and it's weird because they want us. They look at us when we sit out and espouse, oh, there's so much systemic racism, or we say, oh, well, what we're doing is racist, and they say, oh, well, that's just us trying to use identity politics, or that's just us trying to use the race card. But let's be realistic. We've seen, like, say, with Biden, where he's brought in 100,000 Ukrainians. They don't even have to go through the immigration process, and they get homes and houses. But then
And
when we're
free
talking
college
about and
and
free
free
college,
healthcare.
But then when we're talking about uh, Haitian refugees, we're having considerations of sending them to Gitmo. Like
And,
we're cause
riding horses and lassoing them like cattle.
it's it's very ridiculous. It's very ridiculous, and uh, I just feel like I just feel like there's so much more we can do to help, but I've used this analogy before where you're in a plane and something's going down. Say it's dropping and the oxygen levels starting to lose and the emergency oxygen tanks drop down. They tell you as the parent to give yourself oxygen before you give your kids oxygen. We should be helping. We should be giving uh, um, aid to home before we give aid to foreign. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to sound bad because I know there's other places in the world that are worse off than us. But at the end of the day, this is our tax monies. This is our hard work that we're putting in. And I remember the American Revolution had a huge uprising with no taxation without representation. Well, who's representing us? So why are we being taxed? You
Do
know?
you think it's, I mean, the thing is, I'm so down with that. Like, if we had a movement where everyone was just like, fuck it, let's stop paying taxes. But do you think we have enough badasses in this country who would be willing to say, no, let's not do it? Because if it's just a couple hundred people, even a couple thousand people, we're all getting arrested. So do you think we would
I
have enough people to actually, make a dent to prove a point?
I think that at this moment we're too comfortable with talking about the problem and not so comfortable with acting on the problem. I I um I would like to believe that there's many that are like me that are willing to step up for a revolution, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's few and far between. I'm outside, out here in the streets, and I'm on Twitter online all the time. You know, I see the ideals that are spewed by people, but I also see the actions. I see very few are actually working for the homeless. There was a video I seen where these people were picketing signs saying "Save Ukraine, Save Ukraine." And another individual brought an actor that was pretending to be poor, but it's not the fact that he was acting, it's the fact that the other person didn't know he was acting. He thought he was poor, and they were saying, oh, do you think we should give aid to these people instead? You know, how about we give some change to these people? And they're like, do you know what Russia is doing to Ukraine? Okay, but do you know what America is doing to America? You know, and it's like we're good to speak about the injustices, but when it comes to actually standing up and moving, I think there's too few of us that are willing to actually put our money where our mouth is.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And we had a really great conversation last night. I did a spaces on Twitter. You were there, Lucky, you were there. We had a great conversation about this. Who is willing to step up? Who is actually willing to just stop tweeting things like hashtag general strike, and who is ready to literally get in the fucking streets? Um, kind of a You digress a little, but it's certainly relative. So you actually did some time at Rikers, and I want to talk to you about what that was like, and then also talk about the systemic racism within that. So first, and you don't have to say why you were in or anything like that if you don't want to, but if you just kind of want to give a description of what it was like to even go in there to begin with.
Well, it's a big story. I'm not afraid to talk about my past. I think it's built the person that I am now, and I'm more than willing to share exactly how it all started. You people have to understand that I grew up in a blood neighborhood where everybody was one blood set. We were all gang banging. We were all doing stupid things, shooting at each other. And this is one thing that I've had conversations with other black men where I'm telling them like, hey, we're killing ourselves instead of looking at who's our real oppressors, you know? And uh, I was Southside 5'9" Brim. I was out there with a lot of my brothers. I still am connected to a lot of them. I still have a lot of love for them. I'm not on the same level as they are. I feel like I've I've progressed where a lot of people have stayed in the same lane. Unfortunately, uh, regardless to what I am capable of speaking to them about. But basically, what happened was my hood was at war with another hood. It's been like that since before I was born. It's something that I inherited when I started hanging out with my boys out in the streets. Um, and I feel like where I'm at, those things that they won't never change. I don't think that you can stop the violence that's happening there. And I think that the reason why is because once you take a life, there's people that love that person, and there's people that hold hatred deep in their heart for who they lost, and then there's the other side that'll uh, openly go online, openly make music videos, openly uh, make fun of the dead that have lost their lives, and people take serious offense to that, and they're willing to sacrifice their lives for that. Well, there was a situation where, um, and I'm not gonna act like I was better. We were all doing it. They were doing it to us. We were doing it to them. Uh, it was excelling at a rapid pace. I mean, people were going to the enemy's graveyards and like defacing their tombstones and stuff like that. It was really bad. And uh, my one of my cousins, he was doing that, and the enemy caught them, caught him, and shot him dead. And I was really mad about it. And his brother, which was the cousin that I'm really close to, he was really mad about it, and he found he found two of them at a Taco Bell once and shot up the Taco Bell. And nobody nobody died, but one guy got hit in the arm, and everybody was making fun of it online, self snitching, if you will. Um, but my other cousin, the one that lost his brother that I was really close with, his actions caught up to him, and he was murdered. And when they killed him, I got really really upset, and I went down to the that hood, and I found one of the people that was in part of the slaying, and I shot that man 5 times. Um, I'm sorry, 6 times, but he did survive. The police knew it was me. They came looking for me. I went running to Massachusetts. Um, I stayed in Massachusetts. This was back in like the ending of 2009, beginning of 2010. 2010, I got picked up. I served some time in Essex County in Massachusetts, and then eventually they transported me to Rikers. I fought my case for say probably about like a year and a half, 18 months around there, probably a little bit more than 18 months. Uh, and they were willing to take me to trial, and they wanted to give me a lot of time, so I copped out to 7 years. Um, all the time that I was locked up counted. And when I finally copped out to the 7 years, they sent me to Sing Sing upstate, um, eh, which is basically like a classification unit. You're sitting there housed until you find proper housing, which mine was in Elmira, and that's where I spent the rest of my time in Elmira. And I completed my time. I came out, and when I came out, uh, there was one person, a girl, Brooke, that used to write to me. She was like the only person that would write to me while I was in there. And when you're in there, you're so close, like time stops for you. You're so closed off from the outside world that when the outside world contacts you, that's your lifeline. And I really got close to her. So when I came out, I said I was going to go get her. She was living out in Ohio. So I went, I got her, I brought her to New York where we were living. I brought her to the projects. She's seen a little bit of my life and didn't like it. She got pregnant with my son. And when she gave birth to my son, he was born in New York. Um, my little brother Billy, um, he was able to hold her. I got a picture of him holding my son and everything. And then the very next day, he got murdered. And after he got murdered, I just realized things weren't never going to change. You know, um, we brought the baby to Ohio to visit her parents, and her dad bought a house and said, "Hey, you know, you guys can rent this house from me." And I never looked back ever since then. I've been staying out here in Ohio since then. Like my life has changed. Instead of living in the streets, gang banging, because I didn't really know people out here. I started, in a sense, gang banging on Twitter. Uh, I put my energy into politics and reading what I could learn, and I didn't I didn't really I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do or what I was doing. I was just reading and writing about what I was reading about, and people have gained some type of affinity towards it, and that's why I give a lot of respect to Rome from RBN because um, on Twitter I was seeing a lot of what Rome was doing. Um, he was giving back to his community a lot, and he was getting donations, but for the most part, I was seeing like he was going to different states that were going through hell, like Mississippi, like Jackson, Florida, like uh, Tennessee and stuff, where people are really hurting. And this is just some lonely guy from Detroit, you know? And he had his little squad, and they were buying water for people where the government wouldn't even get them water in Flint, Michigan, you know? And he was bringing clothing to people and everything, and it just clicked on me like, hey, maybe that's my purpose, you know. uh, I, I would financially, I was doing pretty good since I moved out to Ohio. So I there's a few friends that I know out here, so we all got together. I just my thing was I decided I didn't want to ask the people for donations because I feel like the people have given the little that they have to all these politicians and everybody who say they want to help, and then they turn around and spit in their faces. So I didn't want to contribute to that. I didn't want to ask anybody for donations. So me and my friends, we made a pool. We threw in some money. And our first action was last year for Christmas. We pulled together $12,000 between us. Our goal was $5,000, but when we were able to just match each other dollar for dollar, we pulled together 12,000 between us, and we went to Akron, Ohio, and we bought jackets with thermal heating for the homeless. We paid this single mother of three's rent for the month. We were able to buy hotels for a week for a lot of people. We bought food, we bought kids toys, and it made me feel real good. And I felt like I had some type of purpose in life, and I felt like so this is what Rome must feel like, So we thought, hey, why don't we try it again? And we had a week from there for New Year's. So we tried working hard, pulling our money again, and we were able to come up with $20,000, and we went out to Ashtabula, Ohio, and we did the same thing on a bigger scale, on a larger scale, and we haven't made plans to do it again. I mean, it is draining on the wallet, so we're probably gonna calm down for a little bit, but we want to do it again, and I think that I think that if we lead by example, that maybe some people like I did with Rome, some people will see what I'm doing and try to pay it
Absolutely.
forward. You know? And that's why I'm
Absolutely.
saying like we could start off like petty gangbangers doing stupid crimes in the streets. But at the end of the day, if you show us a way, we can bring actual productivity to this country.
Absolutely. And this is, so I guess my first question is, did the prison give you any kind, I kind of already, I'm
Oh,
educated enough in criminal justice. I kind of already know this answer, but did they give you any kind of assistance or resources when you left to try to better your life or what have you?
there's one thing I want to start off with a positive before I move into the obvious negative. The one thing prison gave me was my GED. It's the only thing that I got out of
Nice.
it. Prison got me angrier. It made me feel a lot of the fire that I had in my heart, a lot of hatred towards the other side that I had. Um, it didn't help me. It made me hate police even more. Even though prison guards are not police, we look at them like they're the police, and the way they act, it's very similar. Um, it did teach me a lot of MacGyver-esque type of putting things together. But at the end of the day, I didn't get any help. When my time was done, it was just like, boop, kick you out. There you go. They didn't even like. I've heard stories where prisons will give you a bus pass if you don't have a ride home. I didn't
Mhm.
get none of that. They just they took my prison ID, they snipped it off my arm, and they said, "Get the step and you're done." And that was it. They gave me a bag to hold, and it was like I got to walk. Lucky for me, um, my big homie, who's in um who's in the feds now, but he should be coming out this year, which is something I look forward to. The end of this year, he should be coming out. But lucky for me, he was locked up with me, but he got out first. And soon he hit the ground running, and he started doing things right. And he rented a car, and he came and picked me up, so I didn't have to walk. I didn't have to find my way from upstate New York all the way to the city because when you're a city boy, you stay in the city. You don't know nothing about upstate, and that's like farmlands and craziness, And uh, trust me, I would have been lost. I would have never made it home if it wasn't for him.
Do you think
But
with the recidivism rate so high, did you see a lot of people you bonded with go and come back?
uh, same with my big homie, like he got out and he was doing good for himself, and now he's in the feds. Um, it's a revolving door. I've seen people like the time that I was there. I remember I used to think to myself, "Oh man, just let me out once. I'll never come back." Because I used to see people going in and out, in and out, in and out. And I've seen this one guy leave and come back 5 times from the time that I was in Rikers. And Rikers is that you're still fighting your case there. You're still you're not even convicted yet. You're not you know you, you're free trial. You don't even know what's happening in your life yet. You don't even have an out date yet. And I'm seeing these people go in and out, in and out. And I'm like, well, what the hell? I can't even get a bit. They had this thing called a dangerousness hearing, also known as a 58A, which um, which basically means that they consider you a danger to society, and within 90 days you get no bail. But what they don't explain to you is that clock doesn't go down if you put in any motions for your case. If you basically have to just go to court, get another court date, and leave. If you do anything to help your case or to fight your case, you ask for a discovery, you ask for anything, that clock doesn't count down. So I was in there for about like 19, 20 months before I copped out, waiting for those 90 days to be up without a bail. It
Wow.
was a yeah, it's a lot of fuck shit they do, you know? And it's weird because like they'll sit there and they say, uh you have to get a bail, but then they have these little things in place that'll hold you back and stop you from getting a bail. And then the lucky few that do get a bail, they'll come from the projects, uh having like Taco Bell in their background, for employment, making $300 a week, if that, working 40 hours a week, and they'll get a bail of $200,000. Like, and I thought, your Eighth Amendment was no excessive bail, but they don't, like, to them that's not excessive because they give you bail due to your crime, not due to what you can afford, which to me,
Right.
I thought bail was high enough to ensure that you will show up to court, but low enough that you can make it. That's
Right.
not what bail is. Bail is so high that you can't make it. You need to have a GoFundMe or something, and you need to have a paper trail proving that it's all legitimate money. So so
Did you have
it's
a court appointed attorney, a public defender?
public pretender.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I had a public pretender
Essentially.
for a long time. It's funny. I had two court appointments before I got a paid attorney. My friends put together and got me a paid attorney after a while, which was why I got it. I mean, they charged me with assault to murder, serious bodily injury, assault and battery with a deadly weapon, and malicious intent. That's like 17 years, 17 to 20 years max. They're trying to put me away. The only reason why I wouldn't have gotten life was because the guy survived. But uh, I had this one um court appointed, Lynette Leo's. I'll throw you out there because I hate you. But she she was literally like, I would say personal things in my case to her that they didn't have correct in the DA. And then magically the next day we go up to court, the ADA knows this. And it's like, like what's going on here? Like they literally had, like, I still have my grand jury minutes where they would say like the incorrect, most like something that I can catch them up on and say, oh, hey, this is bullshit type stuff in my grand jury minutes that the ADA was spewing, which, in a grand jury, you don't need, there's no, it's just to figure out if you're getting indicted or not. They don't care. They can use circumstantial evidence. They don't have to have anything solid against you. But I have in my grand jury minutes things that didn't make any sense that I would be able to catch up on them, and I'll speak to Lynette Leo, and she's like, "Oh, I got you, okay." And then the next court date, ADA is like, "Hey, we want to fix up a little things that we said on here because he wasn't wearing this, he was wearing that. He didn't run this way, he ran that way. We didn't know that he was in Massachusetts until this, and that. And because they didn't even know I ran to Massachusetts. I just so happened to get stopped in a traffic violation, and my friend was driving, and I didn't even have a license at the time. And I tried to give a fake name. Luckily, they didn't charge me for that. But they figured out who I was and was like, "Oh, hey, you got a." At the time, it was a murder charge because they thought he was gonna die. Uh, Everybody thought he was already dead, but he seemed to pull through, which bless me for that. But uh, it was a murder. I was wanted for murder, and they were like, "Hey, you got a murder out of New York. Oh, we're gonna take you." They didn't even know I ran to Massachusetts. But all of a sudden, the ADA knows the intricacies of me making it to Massachusetts and who helped me out, and they charged people that helped me out. Um, uh, they held my friend in contempt of court. Like it was a ridiculous sham trial. So I got rid of that lawyer, and it was hard. The judge wasn't trying to let me get rid of her. Um, but eventually I got rid of her, and they gave me another guy, uh, Michael something. I don't know. He just wasn't trying to do anything. You can call him 1,000 times. He's not answering the phone. He's never showing up to see you except for the day before you go to court. And he's just telling you, hey, this is what's going down in court. And I'm like, hey, when are we going to talk about the case so you can defend, you know? You don't know anything. You only have what the notes that Lynette Leo has had. And obviously I got rid of her for a reason. But he just didn't want to work, and the judge didn't want to let me get rid of him. It was a struggle, but my friends were able to get together and get a high powered attorney, which was pretty cool. Um, and because I had a paid attorney, the judge had no choice but to let me get rid of the second public pretender. Um, and we don't respect court appointeds because at the end of the day they sit down and they have lunch with the ADA and the people we're supposed to be fighting. They're best friends and stuff. They have
Yeah.
jokes after court sessions. So when we got that, my attorney was meeting with me a lot. John Apperzizi, the guy's a godsend. He was able to get me 7 years out of 20. So like I respect that man a lot, and he did a lot for me. He was worth every penny that they paid for him. Which is another person that I'll shout out. Shout out to John Apperzizi. That guy was a great man. Jewish guy from the Jewish corners in New York. Um,
Well, how much time did you actually end up serving? So 7 years,
I
but
no, I served all of 7 years. I served from 2010 to 2017. Came out in
so
2007.
but the time you served before, that was time served as well.
That was part of it. That was part of it. Yeah, because I got
Oh, okay.
picked up. I got picked up in the beginning of 2010. So like all the time that I was fighting my case in county and in Rikers and stuff like that, like that got counted to my state time. I didn't get screwed like that. I did hear a lot of stories where people got screwed where the judge was saying, "Hey, no time served," and
Mhm.
they would have to stop. Like that's really messed up, but that didn't happen to me. I can't claim that.
So what, I know you said your girlfriend and having a baby, that definitely changed you, which makes perfect sense. But what do you think, I mean, and this is kind of conjecture, but what do you think, do you think you'd still be in that lifestyle had you not gotten arrested?
Um, I don't think the jail did anything to change me. I think I would still be there now if I didn't meet Brooke, because I mean, the stars had to align for me. I don't think that there's nothing I could have done to change both my cousins getting murdered. I don't think there was nothing I could change for my little brother getting murdered. I think that would have happened regardless, but and maybe I would have gotten too. But I think that uh, change started happening the second Brooke started writing me in jail. I was still street minded when I got out of prison. I was still street minded. I was out there still with, red rags, throwing it up, gang banging and throwing up for the set. I went and I got her from Ohio and I brought her back, and I was still wild. I was still a wild boy. The entire time she was pregnant, she had the worst time with me because I was never around. I was always in the streets, and I feel bad about it, but that's just being honest. I was, um, I think the the hurt I felt losing my little brother, um, combined with moving to Ohio and learning about this culture shock and seeing how beautiful it is in a place like Kent, and her father saying, "Hey, this house." I think the stars aligned for me to change my life because then it was just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna come out here and do the same thing. But then, I had my kid and I had to be a dad and I had to be around and I thought a lot about, how I treated Brooke. Um, and I wanted, I thought, I don't know nobody out here. Nobody knows me out here. Um, I don't have to walk down the street looking over my shoulder all the time or looking at every car that passes by and making a mental note of everybody that's in the street in the neighborhood that I'm at. So like if I don't have to do that, then a lot of my PTSD and a lot of my anxieties they drop down a lot. So then it's just like, okay, so what are you gonna do next? Um, I used to sell drugs all the time. I used to sell guns all the time. So coming out here, it was just like, okay, well, let's try working. Um, it was a little bit tough getting a job, but the whole thing about it, like I was telling people, oh, we going out to Ohio, and my homies is like, bro, look at the color of your skin. There are mad racists out there. You're gonna be screwed. You go out there. And to be honest, like the white people out here has been taking their shirts off their backs for me. And how they got me a job, a high paying job, a good job, working security, um, working beautiful hours where I can be here for my family. And, they helped me uh, find, like, I've felt more racism towards me back home from my own people than I ever did from anybody out here. So it's a little different. And I just felt like life is too good for me to fuck it up. You know, I could be that person that's waiting till like 3 o'clock in the morning and running outside at night and breaking into people's cars to steal whatever I could try and steal, or I can get up, go to work, and try to make some money. And I started making some money, and then my neighbor, we got really cool, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like you think you're making money now? Uh, how about the little bits you got you put into stocks?" And he started putting my mind right into uh the capitalist idea of how to make money. And um I got really lucky with GameStop and AMC, and I made a lot of money off of that. And um I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. I'm able to help other people. I own a Tesla. I'm driving pretty nice. So like live in a house, So I'm a kid from the projects. I've lived in housing my whole life. I It used to be like I never even had a driver's license till I moved out to Ohio. So I started to realize that hey, there's a better life. There's a better life than what I've known my whole life. And I feel like getting out and looking at the world and realizing that not everywhere is like where it is in my home. Uh, I feel like that helped me a lot. And I'm not saying there's not bad people out here. There's plenty of people that think wrong, but I feel like uh, pressure makes diamonds. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I went through that built the mentality that I have now, so I'm able to stay headstrong and get things done that I never been able to get done before because I never had that opportunity. And I feel like I'm out here and I have an opportunity. I live in the greener side of the fence, the greener grass on the other side of the fence. And that's why I feel like there's people from where I'm from that don't want to be gang banging. They just want to they just want to move forward and get some type of opportunity, but there's nothing out there for them. And if you put people like me, if a person like me that all my life I've thought about I'm gonna be in the streets, like all my life I was like, this is what I love. I'm gonna be banging for my homie. You ain't gonna mess with my neighborhood. Like this is where I'm from. If you can get a person like me to start living like a productive person, imagine somebody that just wants to live life and is forced to duck every time they hear bullets, you know? And there's way more people like that than there is people like me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're you're just you're just awesome. I'm so proud of you and so proud of everything you have done. I wish I could read the fucking comments. Can you see any of the comments?
I'm on StreamYard. I can't see nothing unless you
Oh,
like
okay.
put them up. Unless you put them up, I can't see them.
All right, let's see what vegan says.
But you know what? I have another phone right here. Let's see if this is connected to the internet. Ooh, yes, you
Let's see
are. Why
what
don't I try this? Uh, we'll find you YouTube. Bam. Look up Savage. Oh, I forgot. Like I have multiple. Oh, vegan says I feel the exact same way at Lucky Burrito. But hold on,
oh.
I'm about to Savage. Joy. I forgot. I have multiple phones that aren't like connected. They're just on the Wi-Fi, so I can just get on here and check out the. Bam. Let me lower the volume. And hey, maybe we can add a new sub to you. Let's do that. Subscribe there. Subscribe to you with this phone, which I don't know whose YouTube this is. It might be a secondary one, but let's see. From what I see, oh, let me switch to live chat. I see. Let's go up. Um, she can't. Let's go up. Okay, aggravated progressive. I can't believe that what his face. That's what his face. Trump CEO gonna spend 5 months in Rikers. Vegan succubus. I'm sorry I missed the spaces last night. Oh, vegan is sorry. Uh, you think good and bad cells? Do you think good and bad cells there or all the same? Teresa, there are some better cells. Like if like we're in a box and the cells are set up in a U form, and then the last side is on the left you'll have like the showers, which will have two tiers, and then on the left on the right it'll have like the big solid door where you can go out into like the rest of the prison. And biggest rule of thumb, any corner cell and any cell next to the corner you stay away from. When it's cold, those are the coldest cells ever. And when people want to fight, the corner cells is where people want to go into the cell and have cell fights. And you don't want to be one of the corner cells because you don't want to have to always have to clean up after somebody when they're fighting, after they fight, because the cameras, uh, especially when you're on the bottom tier, because of the top tier floor, the roof kind of blocks off the camera, so you really can't see who's going in and out of the corner cells. So basically, that's like the designated cells. Like, oh, unless you're gonna swing on the actual deck, like on the ground, but people call that we call them PC, which is protective custody. We call that a PC move because it's like, oh, you guys can go in the cell, have a fight, and try to play it off as long as there's no egregious marks on your face. You can try to play it off and get away with it, or you can fight on the floor. You're both going to the hole, and it's not even going to last that long. So it's like, oh, you're scared if you move on a person on the floor, you know. But sometimes, like a lot of us, we come in with baggage from the streets, where one it's projects versus projects, streets versus streets. And when you see somebody from the other side, it's on site. You're not even thinking. You could be talking with your friends or the new people you meet, playing spades, talking whatever. You see this one guy coming in, and it's like, oh, I recognize him. He's from the opposite side. No talking or anything. You drop everything, you run over there, and you swing on him. You know. So sometimes it's like that. But when it's like a situation that you've been living with the person on the block for a while, and something happens, like something from the poker table, or you guys get into an argument, it's like, okay, step into the cell, and you'll have cell fights like that. Oh,
Did you have a cellmate?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So in the beginning, I had a cellmate. I had three different cellmates. When you're there, they try to mix you by race. So like, if you're black, they try to give you a black cellmate. If you're white, they try to give you a white cellmate. If you're Cambodian, they try to give you a Khmer cellmate, and so forth and so forth. But with me, I could have either Hispanic or black because I'm half Dominican, half black. So it so I had like a bigger pool that they can choose from who to send you in themselves. Um, so had a
Do you
few.
find I
Two,
mhm.
I had
I
two black
noticed with
stuff.
a lot of documentaries I watch and everything about the prison system that certain ethnicities do tend to group together. Did you find that?
Okay, so when you first go in there, if you're not a banger, you're automatically banging anyway for your race. If you're a white person, you're going in there, you're getting with the white people. And you're hanging out with the Aryan Brotherhoods, you're hanging out with the Sea Duds, hanging out with the dirty white boys. It doesn't matter because white sticks with white. So if there's a situation with a black guy or with a Hispanic guy, the white guys are gonna have your back. Um, Same thing with all the other races. That's who you hang out with, unless you're a gangbanger. Then race doesn't matter. What gang you're part of. If you're a blood, doesn't matter if you're white, if you're black, Hispanic, if you're Cambodian, you're gonna hang out at blood children. But say if you're a white blood, which there's very few of them, but there are white blood. If if you're a white blood, the white boys look at you as, oh, that's a nigger. You're not one of us, you know. So it falls on the gang to look out for you, you know. But other than that, it's very racial or ethnic for Lucky out there. Um, it's very about say if me as a black man have an issue with a white guy, I can't just, hey, step into the cell, we're gonna fight. That's not how it works. I gotta talk to my black people. We all gotta go meet up and sit down with the white guys and say, hey, this is the situation. And if it's a real problem, the white guys will be like, oh, okay, yeah, he needs to be violated. We'll take care of it. And one of the white guys will fight the white guy. You know, they're not gonna have a black guy fight a white guy because then the optics looks crazy. And the jailhouse politics, once the optics looks crazy, it gets tension. You can taste the tension in the air. Everything gets quiet. Nobody's playing games. One race is on one side of the jail block. The other race is on the other side of the jail block, and it looks like it's about to go down. And then that's where you have the feds of the prison of the prison system. They're called the IPS, inter perimeter security. They're like literally the federales of all the cops, and they'll shut everything down. Everybody's locked in for like 4 or 5 days. You can't come out to the block food when it's time for chow. They'll bring the food to the block and they'll feed your trays through the trap doors on your door. You know, you have a little square trap. Um, and you're locked in all day. You know, and once every 3 days they'll let you out for a shower. But that's about it's the same thing in the hole. You come out if you're in the hole, you shower once every 3 days. Um and yeah, so it's huge. It's huge on race. It's huge on race.
Wow. Well, I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and hours. And I definitely want to look at these comments when we're off the air. And I definitely want to have you back, of course, to talk even more. But I want to, when we leave it, I want to leave this on a note of what do you tell, what is your message to someone who's watching who may be banging, or who may know someone who is, or what have you. What do you want to tell people?
Um, I want to be realistic. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be in the back of your mind that you know what you're capable of. But there is a better life. There is something better. There, like life isn't what you see in the streets every day. If you go somewhere different, life is completely different, and you're not a complete fuck up to society. You don't have to keep following in that path, even if you have a record. You know, you can you can find peace in things. I, for one, uh, I know a lot about war. I've been a part of a lot of wars, and I've seen a lot of death. I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of family members that I feel every day, you know. And on their death days every year, I have celebration for their lives, you know. And that doesn't that doesn't that doesn't mean that it's right. You know, that doesn't mean that you're making the right choice, even if you love that person, because that person wants you to live a proper life. You know, they lost their lives so that you can live yours. And the best message to me is to try to walk away from a war, try to leave that behind you. Um, you know, like just because the government does it doesn't mean that we have to do it. And the best thing is
Absolutely.
that, you know,
Well,
that
thank you so much for joining me, Applejack. This was a long time coming. I'm so glad. And like I said, we're definitely going to have you back. Thank you guys so much in the comments. Thank you, Lucky, for connecting us. And I will definitely read the comments after we get off the air. So if
keep telling everybody to like the stream, and Lucky and Vegan said make us mods.
I know I tried, I don't know how. I
Lucky,
tried.
tell us how to make you
Well,
guys
she
mod.
told me last night, and I tried, and then I just tried again. Let me try. I went into YouTube Studio, and okay, I'm in YouTube Studio. I am going to. You said go to one of your comments. Okay. And then click the three dots, but it's not giving me options.
Go start. I see you, brother. Soul Construct. That's what's up, brother. Let's see who else is in here. Salute to Lucky, Soul, Teresa, Aggravated Progressive. That's my dude right there. Aggravated Progressive. I like that dude. Vegan. I love you, girl. Um, who else is here? Who else? Who else? Who else?
Let me see if I don't know. I'm trying, you guys. I'm not good at this shit. God damn it. Wait, wait. Lucky. Okay. Remove, go to channel, pin, report, rename, put.
Why is it so difficult? Like there's like 1,000 things to do.
I think I found it. Add moderator.
Oh,
Are you a moderator? Lucky, did that
me?
work?
Oh, Lucky, are you a mod?
No,
Lucky Ducky.
where the hell's Vegan? Here she is.
Yep,
Okay.
Lucky's a mod.
Okay, I think I got Vegan too. I think. Yeah,
Vegan,
it's
say
weird. They make
something.
you do it when you're live.
Yeah, I know. You can't do it on the side.
I have done this show over 5 years and I have never had a mod. So who knows? Like I did, I used to get a lot of eggplants and squirts. Those emojis, I used to get them a lot.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever, that doesn't offend me. I'm just gonna leave those.
I don't know where Vegan is, but I think she might. Oh, Stever. Vegan's a mod. Yeah.
Yeah. See, you only had to explain it to me like 5 different ways.
Yeah,
That's it. Dude, I'm 43. I'm old. I don't know this shit. Well, again, thank you so much, Applejack. If you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, I'll be having Matthew Ho back. He is a badass bee that ran for Green Party and took the Dems to court to basically tell them to go fuck themselves. And it was beautiful. So he'll be joining me Monday. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please smash the like button and the subscribe. And again, Applejack, much love to you and so proud of you.
Of course. Thank you. I think that this is just another leaf to learn, to turn over and learn.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, Joy. Appreciate you for having me on here. Whoever lazy quackhole is, I appreciate you too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you everybody
guys,
here.
Thanks so much.
Hashtag stage Steve Cutler.
Yeah. Leave it to Stever. Oh yes, that reminds me. I'm doing a concert for mutual aid. So I'm going to be having musicians live stream on my channel, a virtual concert, and I'm going to be dropping mutual aid links throughout the comments during the concert so that the money goes directly to the people in need. So I need musicians. Right now, we, of course, have Steve Cutler and Jesse Jett. They're always, have my back and Emperor All's back and all that. So, yeah, I need other bands, singers, what have you.
Yeah, where are the musicians at? Where the musicians at? Come on.
Yeah,
where's the
real.
musicians at? Come on, get up. Time to show your skill. We're live streaming to the whole world.
Yep. I mean, I can sing every Salt and Pepper song ever written, but I don't know if people want to sit through that. They'll donate so I stop. That's what's going to happen.
I know how to sing Peppa Pig. I know how to sing Peppa Pig. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks again, Applejack. Much love to everyone.
Definitely. Love you guys. Bye.